Hey, what's up, guys? Brian Bonetta here, CEO for LC Innovation. Just wanted to send you guys a Sunday morning football video that I've been thinking about. I did a whole video on the business side of it, along with what I'm about to talk about right now. But right now, I just want to stick to football. I want to do a small video on football, what we're gonna see, hopefully, what we're gonna see today. But yeah, I just been thinking a lot. You guys know that I run my own business, my own consulting agency, and some of the main things that really inspire me and motivate me is sports. The Dodgers. I did another video on the Dodgers, the Lakers, and yes, I'm a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. The only Jacksonville Jaguar fan in California. I'm kidding. There's been about 4 or 5 people that I've met in 20 years. Over 20 years, actually. I've been a fan for about 30 years. But yeah, so I'm a huge Jacksonville Jaguar fan. I'm going to get into Trevor Lawrence in a little bit, but man, what we're seeing with Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, I saw this post on Twitter a few weeks ago, maybe over a month ago. But yeah, I saw Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. They were both on the Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. Sam Darnold, he played for the Vikings last year. He played for the Panthers. He played for the Jets, I believe. And then he also played for the San Francisco 49ers for a season or half a season. But yeah, like I always talk about in business, and once again, subscribe, like, comment, beat me up, whatever. But if you want to know more about how I intertwine sports with business, check out my videos. I got a bunch of them. I'm going to talk a lot about Bill Belichick today and Tom Brady. And whenever I talk about Belichick and Brady, I always go into Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes as well, because it's all about systems, right? In college football and college sports, the best, most winningest coaches build systems, and they have to have the right players to fit that system, right? In pro sports, in my opinion, in my research that I've done, it's about building systems around your key players. That's what it's all about. And in my research, what I've seen is that the quarterback on offense and the linebacker or edge rusher slash linebacker on defense, that's really what you build around. Some people will argue about that. Some people say cornerbacks, are just as important as a defensive end slash linebacker. I agree, but if you have that one person, if you have that one Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis, Joey Bosa, T.J. Watt, J.J. Watt, if you have that defensive end slash linebacker, it's going to make your life a lot easier. Miles Garrett, look at what Miles Garrett's doing. Aiden Hutchinson. Then you have your outliers. You do have your Richard Shermans, right, with the Seahawks, the Legion of Boom, and then you also have um, what's his name? A person like Jalen Ramsey, who's one of my favorite players of all time, and then you have Aaron Donald, right, who I believe was a nose tackle or a defensive tackle. So you have these players that you build systems around. And I'm going to get into the business stuff. I have another one on business. Business to me, it's about building around your product. You have to build systems around your product, whether that's people, culture, whatever. It has to be built around your product when it comes to business, right? But that's something we'll talk about somewhere else. I'm here to talk to you about football. Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones. Obviously the Giants saw something in him. The New York Giants saw something in him. He ended up getting drafted by the New York Giants, and then he ended up going to Indianapolis, where he's tearing it up right now. They're playing the Falcons right now in Berlin, the first game in Berlin, I believe. It's a pretty good game. I just left. It's 14-13, I believe. But yeah, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith. Geno Smith jumped around before he got to Seattle, tore it up in Seattle. So sometimes if you don't have that star quarterback and you build a system in the NFL, sometimes you do need to find that one player that fits that system or that system was built for. In this case, I think Sam Darnold picked a really good choice to go to Minnesota. Even better choice now to go to Seattle. The teams, I believe the team suits what he's really good at. Baker Mayfield went to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has a gluttony of wide receivers, really good wide receivers. They're allowing Baker Mayfield to chuck the ball. Baker Mayfield chucks the ball. He's very accurate. He's not shy. He will throw that gunslinger cannon that he has. He will do that. And he's very accurate at it. I think that's why he's doing so well. They have a running game that complements Baker Mayfield. If Bucky Irving can get healthy, he's amazing. Rashad White's pretty good. But the wide receivers that he has, I know Mike Evans is out for the year. Chris Godwin's been out for a while now. The rookie, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Egbuke or I forgot how to pronounce his name, but he's doing really, really well. But they're allowing Baker to really show off his cannon, right? He's really launching that cannon. He's tearing it up. And that's what happens. Sometimes when you build a good system, you have a good set of good players, inserting that one player that system fits. Remember, Not the player fits in the system. The system fits that player. It's a totally different thing. That's what the difference is. You have to build a system around your star key players, right? So if you have, for example, the Colts is a perfect example. They got Jonathan Taylor. I think Michael Pittman's a really good wide receiver. Pierce is a good slot receiver, right? They got some really the tight end that they just got Warren. They got some really, really, really good playmakers, right? I think Daniel Jones knowing when to run, because I think he's gotten really good at knowing when to run. He doesn't run all the time, but it's like he has a sixth sense of when to run for a first down. But he fits that. He fits. You're saying, well, okay, well, Brian, he's saying he fits that system. No, no, no. The system was already built, but they got a player that can really elevate that system, right? Because if you had a really strong running game, you just need a clock managing quarterback to manage that running game, right? We've seen that before several times, and that's another thing too. You look at Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh, he had success with the 49ers and he went to Michigan. He built a great program in Michigan. He had a great system in Michigan. But look what happened though. He now went to the Chargers and everyone's saying they're going to run the ball, they're going to run the ball. He's letting Herbert sling it. He's literally letting Herbert sling the ball with Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen. I believe they have a good up and coming tight end as well. And then they have Quentin Johnson. But they also got really good running backs. That Vidal kid is actually becoming a really good running back. And I really like Omarion Hampton. I think he's going to be a stud. He's going to be back soon. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, you know, Jim Harbaugh, the system's already there. He's putting his running game, his culture, his emphasis, and all that stuff. But he's built it around Justin Herbert. He's forgotten about ground and pound, running left and right. To now he's learned how to let his team sling the ball, how to let his quarterback sling the ball. So you see what I'm saying? You can build a system in the NFL, but it has to be built around your key players. And sometimes when you have that system, and what I was going to say was that one key player that doesn't fit, you need to find that one key player that will fit. And once again, you could say he fits into that system. But if you built that system around a player that didn't work out, you have to try to find a player that will work out, that has the tools, the tangibles that you need to be successful in that system. I know you're probably like, Brian, that doesn't make any sense, but let me make you understand why. So this is Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, the list goes on. If you go to my videos, you'll see Belichick, Brady, Mahomes and Andy Reid. You'll see some of my past videos that I've done on there. Please like, subscribe, beat me up. But look at those videos so you can understand a more in-depth analysis of what I'm talking about. I did a whole, in business, it's called the Balanced Scorecard. I did a whole Balanced Scorecard on Belichick and his system that he built around Tom Brady. Once again, Tom Brady, when he was hurt, Matt Castle was the quarterback. They were still successful. Matt Castle was a pocket passer. He wasn't the greatest runner. He was also a good pocket passer. So Brady was a very good pocket passer. He had a lot of confidence in the pocket, trusted his linemen. When he got hurt with the knee injury, he got hit pretty hard in the knee. You insert Matt Castle. And Matt Castle has he's not Tom Brady. I am not saying he's Tom Brady, but I am saying that Matt Castle had some of the physical attributes. He had some of the I wouldn't say the gifts, but he had some of the characteristics and the skills, some of the skills that Brady had, which is why they went 11-6 that year, or 11-6 or 11-5. I think that was before they went to 17 games. I think they were 11-5, and they didn't even make the playoffs. But that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes when when that player that you built the system around doesn't work out or gets hurt like Brady did, you have to find someone with a similar skill set to come in, and so that way they can take over that system, right? That's the perfect example. But when you talk about Belichick and Brady, look at what Belichick did. He got so many wide receivers with a very low drop percentage, great route running. They spent all their time in the gym and in the film room, and they knew the rule book. They knew what the referees were going to call. They just built an amazing system. He got the wide receivers that fit Tom Brady very, very well. Look at Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Andy Reid has traded Tyreek Hill after they won a Super Bowl. He traded Tyreek Hill, and they've won 2 ever since. They've won 2 Super Bowls since they traded Tyreek Hill, who at that time was becoming one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. People were like, how do you trade this guy? Well, he was asking for a max contract, which he deserves, and he got with Miami. But at the same time, it's like, they know what kind of player he is. They know what kind of players Mahomes like. And look, he has his go-to guy in Travis Kelce. If he has a go-to guy, what else does he need? He needs these vertical threats that go from sideline to sideline that can follow Mahomes around, because Mahomes is gift, just like Brady, with precision, with accuracy, play calling, understanding the defense, film room, understanding the referees and what they're going to call, what are the penalties, blah, blah, blah. Understanding that, Patrick Mahomes' gift, his is going sideline to sideline. It's awareness, it's knowing where he's at, no matter what side of the field he's on. You ever seen those plays where he goes from one side of the field to the other and he never passes that line of scrimmage and he throws it for a touchdown or a 15, 20-yard play? That's Patrick Mahomes' gift. So, anyways, you have to build around these quarterbacks, around your system. Your quarterback on offense is the most important position, and you have to build a system around that player. And if it doesn't work out around that player, doesn't mean you blow up the whole thing. No, get another player with a similar skill set. That similar skill set. That's the key. Similar skill set that's going to fit. That's going to fit that system that you already built. So I'm not saying build a system and then get the players. No, I'm saying get the players, then build the system. And if it doesn't work, get someone with a similar skill set to come in. That's what it's all about. Now we're going to end it with Trevor Lawrence. We talked about Mahomes. We talked about Brady, their gifts. Brady precision, Mahomes awareness. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Daniel Jones. We've talked about all these things, but so the Jaguars, this is the Jaguars numbers in 2022 when they made the playoffs. Christian Kirk, 1,100 yards. Zay Jones, 823. Marvin Jones, 529. It's missing Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram, I think, had like 600 or 800 yards that year too. But look at this distribution. That's Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people talk trash about Trevor Lawrence. He had a really good year in 2022. Doug Peterson was calling plays this year, I believe. And then in 2023 and 2024, he passed those duties on to Press Taylor. I believe that Press Taylor was trying to build a system, which I think Press Taylor might be a really good NCAA coach, but he was trying to build a system. He was trying to ground and pound and run the ball and then spread the game out. When you got a guy like Trevor Lawrence with that cannon that he's got, man, you got to use him. You got to let him throw that ball, seriously, 30 to 35 times a game. You got to let him throw that ball. I remember there were some games in 2023 and 2024 where he had 18 passes. And now a lot of you guys are probably going to say like, oh, well, he wasn't playing that well. You still got to let him throw it, man. You look at Patrick Mahomes, sometimes Tom Brady, but Patrick Mahomes sometimes will throw 2 or 3 touchdowns with 1 or 2 interceptions because he goes for it. You got to go for it. Baker Mayfield throws interceptions. You got to let your players play. You got to let them get into a rhythm. And in 2023 and 2024, I'm sorry, I don't care what you guys say. I don't think Trevor Lawrence was allowed to impress Taylor's system to really thrive. So now I think what we're seeing with this Jakobi Meyers trade is we're seeing 2022 all over again, right? So if you look at this one, James Gladstone, we're looking forward to seeing how his skill set fits within the system. I think from afar it does. You think about where in terms of volume drops, what's his superpower? It's not dropping the football, right? That is awesome. That Jakobi Meyers has played with Mac Jones, Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell. I believe he did play with Drake May for about a half a season or something. No, he didn't. He played with Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, Geno Smith, Mac Jones. He has not had consistent quarterback play in the last 4 years, and he had 1,000 yards, I think, last year, the year before. He's had over 800 yards twice already. I'm not saying that we're seeing a solid gem here. I'm not saying we're seeing the best NFL wide receiver out there, but I'm saying that Trevor Lawrence needs someone that's not going to drop the ball. That's what he needs. Brian Thomas Jr., I believe, is an incredible wide receiver. I think he's going to thrive from this trade. I think you're going to see a lot of out routes, fade routes. You're going to see a lot of vertical downfield passes to Brian Thomas Jr. That's his skill set. I don't think Brian Thomas Jr. wants to be in the middle. I don't think he wants to catch those slot passes. I don't think he wants to catch that stuff. He thrives in the open field. And I think taking away those plays from him and giving them to Jakobi Meyers and Parker Washington is really going to help. But what we're seeing now is I'm telling you, 2022. Trevor Lawrence right now, he's got his Christian Kirk now. Christian Kirk kept getting hurt the last couple of years, and that's why they let him go. But Christian Kirk in 2022, I think we're going to see those Jakobi Meyers numbers with him. Jakobi Meyers, like I said right here, his drop percentage is like 5%. He does not drop the ball. He doesn't. I'm not saying he's Devontae Adams or Puka Nacua or whatever, Garrett Wilson even. But I am going to say that Jakobi Meyers doesn't drop the ball. He's a pretty damn good wide receiver, and I think he's going to do really good in this system. You're seeing Zay Jones here. I think Zay Jones is definitely going to be I think Zay Jones is going to be Parker Washington. I think Parker Washington is going to fill that role where he's you can tell Parker Washington and Trevor Lawrence are pretty cool. You can tell they're buddies. You can tell that he likes them a lot. You can just tell. And I think that Parker Washington is going to take that Zay Jones role where he's going to be one of Trevor Lawrence's favorite targets, not his go-to guy. There's a big difference between your favorite target and your go-to guy. Randall Cobb was a favorite target for Aaron Rodgers, right? But Devontae wasn't Aaron Rodgers'